Welcome back to the Educational Opportunity Podcast, where our goal is to ignite potential with actionable insights that lead to thriving careers and empowered lives. My name is Shayla Letcher, and today I am joined by
Dr. Tatiana Parker.
Dr. Parker. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Firstly, I know it wasn't easy navigating the traffic, right, that we have going on, but that's a great thing being in this new economy. We got all this construction going on, and it's cool to be at the epicenter of it, right? Like developing training programs that are going to fortify our construction industry here in Syracuse. When I met you, this was now 3 or 4 months ago, maybe even 5. You were our empowerment seminar speaker. And in that visit, you shared a really compelling backstory of your start, drafting your initial vision for your future and how the EOC played a part in that. And so I just wanted to give you the opportunity to share with our listeners and to also thank you for being here and blessing us with that testimony. So I'm going to jump right into it.
Okay.
As I was reflecting on themes for our conversation today, and you and I both in prior conversations, you talked a little bit about this dreamer mentality and crafting those initial first steps. So go ahead, introduce yourself and share a little bit about your personal and professional journey and how that shaped the path that you're on today.
Wow, that's such a big question. Thank you so much for having me. I consider it an honor to come back to places that have sown into me and pay that forward by sowing back into those who may be standing, on my shoulders. So, my journey to EOC, it was born out of necessity, I believe, because I was in a bad situation. I was in an abusive relationship, graduated from high school, and tried OCC.
Yes.
Because of what I experienced in that relationship, I flat out failed. I failed out.
Yeah.
People think you can't fail out of OCC. You can fail out of OCC. And so I was still in the relationship, but I needed a way to bring in more money. A lot of people who are in abusive relationships don't leave because of that financial constraint, right? So I was aware that that situation wasn't going to be forever. I started dreaming, to your point, about what I want my life to look like. And so I saw the SUNY EOC. And I said, let me go down and see what they have. And I saw they had medical billing and coding. And so I jumped into the medical billing and coding program, completed, and right away that credential offered me mobility.
Yes.
I got a job with a local, actually regional insurance company.
Wow.
And that started my career in what would you say? Basically customer service, but constituent services, helping certain populations solve problems.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's where I find myself now. So just as a person, I pride myself on being a person that connects people to people and people to opportunities.
Yes. Yep.
Because we are all in this together, regardless of how isolated we may feel sometimes.
Yep.
And when one boat rises, we all rise.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Just touching on your point of when one person rises, we all rise. I try to run that message home in just different words with our students. It's like, with our SEOC ambassadors, the ones that have been featured on this channel, you really are a pioneer to those back in your micro communities. How are you now taking your experiences from the EOC back to your friends, back to your family, and opening a door, right? Are you bringing folks back through, to stand on your shoulders, right? The importance of that. And of course, having platforms like this as, marketing tools to bring the community in so they can see who is coming through our programs and what our programs are like, but they benefit so much more from hearing those personal stories, right? And stories of success.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about your past, right,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about relationships that
Mm-hmm.
weren't necessarily healthy, doors that you thought about opening, but because of financial constraints and different things, you had to be really strategic about navigating that.
Mm-hmm.
Share a little bit more about those challenges and those barriers and how you overcame them along the way.
One thing I've come to learn about barriers is that your mindset upon approaching them can either stagnate you or propel you. And so when I left EOC, got the job with the insurer, I did end up back at OCC's campus, still in a relationship. But sometimes it's life. Life is the best teacher. And so when I say, the dreamer mentality you mentioned, it's not the dreamer at night. It's the dreamer of the day. It's those who experience life with their eyes wide open, understanding in the pit of their stomach, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know when or where, but this is not the end of my story. So as I said, I was still in that relationship at OCC. That typical hood love on and off again. I hate you, move out, come back.
Yep.
And it was during one of those particular breaks. I had been struggling during the typical 15-week semester to make a C, straight struggling.
Yeah.
And kicked him out, had an argument about something, and then I went to the summer semester.
Gotcha.
For those who are not aware, a summer semester in college can either be 5 weeks or 10 weeks.
Okay.
I took 2 5-week sessions. With him gone, I averaged a 3.5 in 5 weeks when I could not get a C in 15. And as we continue to push, living in the unknowing about how, but knowing that there is a way, during that journey, you will get a bump on the head that brings clarity. And that was my clarity moment to say, look what you did in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's time to let this go.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did.
Wow. I know that resonates with so many listeners. And myself personally, I think, whether it is those romantic relationships, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be literally anyone in your life that is in close proximity to you on a consistent basis that affects your growth and development. Right?
It can be work. It can be spaces too.
Yes.
It can be, because those spaces are made up of people.
Yes. Yep.
Organizations.
Yes.
All of that.
Yep.
I think the key word is alignment.
Bingo.
And not alignment with the external world per se, but what purpose was you feel is bestowed upon you. It's alignment with that.
Yep. Agreed.
And chuck
100%.
Chuck anything that is going to come against it.
And just conflict, right? Like, I think that sometimes we learn to walk with these convictions and we learn how to, navigate our internal afflictions, for lack of a better word, not to sound too rhymey, but like, that's exactly what it is. It's just, learning to adapt. And sometimes you need to make some adjustments, right? Instead of just adapting. Which is huge. And then your mindset, right? So the mindset that came from those adjustments was the realization that I actually do have what it takes. So that's incredible. How did that shape your core beliefs about yourself? And how does that show up in your leadership approach today?
So interesting. I'm going to have to separate that question. At the time, I was in my 20s. So I didn't have the wisdom, I think, because, hindsight is 2020, but going through it, I just knew that I had this goal for education. So I can make a decent amount of money. So I did not have to struggle, so I can live the life that I wanted to, not just survive. I'd spent so many years surviving. I wanted to thrive. And so I knew that I identified that was an obstacle to my goal, and I kept pushing. It wasn't until I continued on my journey and each barrier that I encountered after, or each success, or each transition, I looked back. I developed a practice of being very introspective, taking the time to stop and say, "This look at what has happened. I may not be quite where I was, where I want to be, but I'm not where I was. And look what's happened." And I think that aspect right there lends itself to my leadership because, and anybody who talks to me knows I hate the word leadership.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow, you're gonna have to expound on that too.
Girl, it's overused.
Oh yeah, yep, it is.
Leadership is a word that it is so widely used, but very rarely defined. And so everybody says, be a leader in your field, be a leader in the community. But what is a leader? Furthermore, a leader is just not a person. We're using leadership as a noun.
Wow.
Leadership is what you do.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's a verb. It's active.
Yeah.
And so when I have these conversations, I like to position it as stewardship.
Okay. Yeah.
To lead is to steward those around you in your care.
Yeah.
So my ability to check myself at the door and say, oh, did I handle that conversation appropriately? How could I have done that different? Oh, I freaked out at this test. I did my paper, got it in by 11:59 and got a good grade. What did I learn from this?
Yeah.
So it's about taking intentional pauses and reflecting, acknowledging what went well.
Wow.
And pivoting with what could be done better.
Wow. I do that. That is a practice that I recently started to implement, and I wish I had started to do it a lot sooner. The intentional pauses, right? There is so much that can be gathered from one interaction, right? So much that can be gathered from one night spent cramming for an exam and getting that paper in at the last minute, right? That 11:59. And like, are we now looking at those experiences and saying, what is one small tweak that I could make moving forward to put me in a better position when that comes up again? And I love talking to students about those small tweaks. And I know all of us here at the EOC make an effort to do that. Is, you know, when we're goal setting with students, don't think of the biggest goal that you could ever think or imagine, right? Look at yesterday. Where was the friction? What could have gone just that much better? And what is one tiny adjustment you can make today to smooth that out and to have a little bit more forward motion come tomorrow? Yeah,
absolutely. It's incredible what introspection will do. But what is introspection without honesty? I need people to be more honest with themselves. And it doesn't stop at any level of life that you live. Right now, I'm in my early 40s. I have a doctorate, mid-career, family. And I find myself in this season needing to get still again. Because when you get into the world and you get to working, sometimes you can carry expectations that are not yours to hold. And that can cause us to be out of alignment. It can cause us to be burnt out. And sometimes, especially, you know, I know we have listeners of several demographics, but especially for us as Black women. We have this superwoman cape on us and we press through, not realizing the trauma that we're doing to our bodies and our minds. And I found myself there and I'm like, sis, something's out of balance. Let's get realigned, because the higher you get and the more you accomplish and the clearer you get on your purpose, the more that's going to come against you to distract you.
Wow.
So you've gotta be in tune with your body. Are your shoulders in your ears? Is your jaw clenched? Are you walking around with your fist balled? That is your body telling you, sis, you need to just cool out.
Stillness. Wow. Those body cues. How did you initially learn to pay attention to that? Like, you know, when we think about like chest tightness and your shoulders being raised and your jaw being clenched, or just headaches at the end of the day, you know, whatever it may be, right? Your body showing you signs. How did you begin to connect that with something being misaligned?
Well, when I tell you I'm very early on this journey, I mean about 2 weeks in.
Okay.
Okay. And what I noticed were the signs of burnout. I noticed things that brought me joy now felt laborious. It felt like a chore. I felt like, I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like my mind was all over the place in a way that I didn't care for. I'm a little neurospicy, but it was a little bit more than normal. And I did not like that. I became, you know, a bed potato, not a couch, a bed potato. As soon as I'm done with everything, I'm in my bed scrolling. I'm looking for something to distract me, to take me away. And it got to the point I talked to my therapist. Therapy is important. Okay. It's not just for when things go wrong. It's the difference between a specialist and a primary care doctor. You go to a specialist when something is wrong, but you even have well checkups with your primary. So keep things good. So I talked to my therapist and I was like, girl, I'm feeling a little weird. Am I spiraling? And she very lovingly told me, you're doing so much. You pour out so much to people around you, but you're not giving yourself that same care. And she encouraged me actually to, and this is a tip, I'm a girl of practicality. She told me to write down how I'm feeling now, how I want to be, take it to AI. I took it to ChatGPT and give me a 6 to 12 month plan.
Wow. There you go. There's some AI tool used.
I mean, it's real. And then I had people around me, and of course, social media like TikToks or Instagram posts that would talk about somatic exercises, breathing, and all of that. So I made my own kind of like toolkit of, you know, sit for 2 minutes and name everything you can hear, everything you can feel. So when I feel that tightness, when I become aware of it, I do that exercise and keep it moving. But to become aware of your body, it's a practice. You know, you can set a timer on your phone. You can just check in periodically through the day. How do I feel in my body right now? Those feelings are data. And it points us to where we're out of alignment, either with our practice, our systems, or our values.
Wow. And values was another huge thing. I'm so grateful that you sent me those worksheets. I've been diving into them. Sometimes we feel like we know what's important to us, what our core beliefs are, our values, right? But when someone asks you, what are your values? And they ask you to name them. There's so many things that come to mind, right? When you asked me that question, when we spoke previously, I'm naming different things, but they weren't quite values. They were more or less like, you know, actions and, you know, outcomes of values and things. So just sitting for a moment, right? Taking some stillness for myself and looking at the worksheet you sent me and going through it and being able to name like, okay, this is actually at the root of why I do what I do. And this is what brings me that feeling of alignment. And when you're able to go back to that and clearly state that to others, then I believe you let yourself off the hook a little bit with those expectations of others around you, and you put those very clear, you know, boundaries almost for other people. Like, you know, this is what's important to me, and this is what I continue to operate from. This is what fuels me, and anything else is going to be pulling from that. And you know, the thing about value is, like you said, you can feel like you have them in your mind, but when somebody asks you to recall them, you're like, But also, all values, how can I say this? They might have a ranking. So you might have family, you might have work, but family and work aren't on the same level. And I created a screensaver for myself. If you see, I have my values right on my phone screen because I need to keep them in front of me, because when those
instances come up or I get tired or I get frustrated, I need to go back to my values to say, okay, is this because I'm thirsty? Is it because I'm hungry, didn't have enough sleep? Or is something coming against a fundamental value of mine that I need to reassess?
Wow.
And another thing, you brought up boundaries.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good talk about boundaries these days. Yeah. However, the key to that is enforcement. Yeah. That's what nobody talks about. Nobody talks about, okay, you have a boundary, but what makes a boundary is what happens if it's crossed.
That's true.
And we don't talk about that.
That's fun to talk about.
It is.
That really is. I don't exactly know if there is an enforcement that is like, it's got to be tailored to the style of relationship, right?
Absolutely. And the situation.
Yeah.
And you have those conversations either outwardly or with yourself.
Yeah.
I'm in this friendship. Mm-hmm. These are the values I hold dear in friendship. These are the values that they share. But if a friend crosses that, because a friend is just like any relationship, there can be instances where a value or boundary is crossed.
Right.
But if it's in your head and they don't know,
right. Yeah.
If you have that conversation and say, hey, this is what happened. This is how it made me feel.
Yeah.
In the future when this comes up, could you do this?
Yeah.
But if it gets reoffended.
Yeah.
Now you have to talk to yourself. Yeah. What is my next step?
Yeah. And having that game plan, right? And sticking to it.
And sticking to it.
And not being inconsistent in it. I think, people observe inconsistent boundaries as well.
Ooh.
And once they see that, they're like, oh, well, maybe this isn't really a value.
Hello. That's what it is.
Yeah. And so, we spoke about your background, right? Challenging relationships, developing a new and improved mentality, identifying values, right? And just this developing a dreamer mentality. What would you say for someone who has a vision, but feels uncertain about where to begin? How do you define the first step?
Just do something.
Something.
Okay. That's the thing. I think when people see myself or people like myself, or even when I was a bit younger and I was looking at the shoulders that I stood upon, I was like, oh my God, they have it all together. They know what they're doing.
Right.
The gag is don't nobody know what they're doing. Sorry, if you all were pretending, I'm sorry, I took the mask off. We really don't. We have a semblance of an idea.
Yeah.
But we don't really know. And there are some people who believe they do, and they're very strict to their GPS compass. And sometimes those people, if you don't have flexibility, you can be so committed to a goal, you actually don't get it because you're not flexible on the way in which you get it.
True. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so what would I say to someone? I would say, do it afraid. Do it not knowing. But just do it. Do anything. If you want to write a book and you don't know where to start, write one sentence. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on paper. It doesn't have to be, on a computer. If you don't like the way you write, you can do a voice note on your phone.
Yeah.
One line at a time.
That's real. Yeah. Getting out of our own way, right? And knowing that it doesn't have to look the way anyone else has done it before. Is so huge for a lot of students, especially because our students are so culturally diverse, expressing themselves in different ways. And I think that the big thing is just take a step back, think about where you want to go, and just making the smallest, most simplistic step toward that. Right. And not overcomplicating it, not making excuses for yourself, and just knowing that feeling's not going to go away, probably. Right. Like, I think sometimes we put ourselves on the back burner.
Right? It never goes away. But I also want to add, though, the element of community. Right. In Syracuse, we're fortunate to have a very rich community. It's very diverse in so many different ways. But we're also incredibly isolated sometimes. I think sometimes perceptions can get in the way. And I mean by that, like I was saying before, oh, they have it together. I want to be like them, or they're not going to want to talk to me. We have so many people that you can just reach out and touch, either just by attending community events, introducing yourself with someone who you believe is aligned, or, there's Facebook groups you can join, LinkedIn, LinkedIn groups.
Yep.
If you are interested in medical billing and coding, and you want to get a sense of what that's like, what someone has done, go on LinkedIn and Google medical billing and coding Syracuse. Whatever, and whoever has that in their profile is going to come up.
Yeah.
You can send a message, hey, you'll know me from Adam.
Straight strategy coming through right now.
I'm a girl of practicality. I don't like all of that philosophy with no practice.
Yeah.
Open your mouth. Closed mouth does not get fed. No. You want to know something? Ask somebody.
Yes. And know that they're willing to reach out and help. No one's asking for, some sort of, you don't have to have a certain role or a title. No. Like, people understand that there is a level of mentorship that has to occur in just any field of work and any line of work. And people really own that responsibility, I feel. There certainly are situations and circumstances where you might not get a response, right? But I don't think it has anything to do with that person not wanting that.
Correct.
It might just have to do with, scheduling and priorities and, whatever season they're in.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. Even in my doctoral research, I researched how Black women from areas of Black concentrated poverty used relationships to be upward. And one of the themes that I saw is that when these women did achieve some level of a certain level of income or a certain level of mobility, they felt it was their responsibility to do the same for someone else.
Yes.
Like that is in the data. That is in the data. But I also want to encourage your listeners, mentorship is fine. A mentor is someone who walks along with you during your journey, but sponsorship is incredibly important too. And sponsorship is when someone goes ahead of you. They bring your name into rooms. They craft opportunities for you. Wow. That is equally as important as someone who walks and helps you navigate the journey. Yeah. So I guess the through line is get out there, get to know people, let them get to know you.
Yeah. Wow. I'm learning so much right now listening to you. I know our listeners are. I'm going to go ahead and close out with the last couple questions here. Why do you believe connection and community are so critical for personal and professional growth? You touched on this already, right? With that last segment. Sponsorship. Right? Yeah. I don't hear anyone really talking about that except for maybe in like entrepreneurial circles and environments. But even for that, entry-level professional that's looking to break through, maybe they're crafting their 5-year plan, 10-year plan. What are some ways that people can start finding these people and create, you said LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn groups, utilizing Facebook, various online platforms. That's a great way for those that might, feel more comfortable doing that online. But what if someone's a little bit apprehensive about in-person networking and going to these events? And how do I move in the room? I remember when I was freshly graduated from college and I went to my first like networking event and I'm standing there. I didn't have cards, right? So everyone's like passing cards. I didn't have those. And I just felt like a lone wolf in a sea of a bunch of people that just kind of maybe already knew each other. And so you just kind of feel like, okay, well, I'm the odd man out in this group or in this circle. What are some initial tips or strategies for someone that might be feeling that way?
You made me sit up. Listen, I got a lot to say here, so buckle up. So networking has been marketed as this machine almost. You have to network. Well, another word I don't particularly care for. But I think that's because of how networking has been approached by prior generations. When you meet somebody, it's, hi, what's your name? What do you do? And that may sometimes be a way to size you up. Ooh. What I would say first for people who are looking to break out, first of all, you have to have some semblance of understanding of who you are and what you want.
Yeah.
You can't interface with someone else if you don't have an outline of who you are and what you want. That is literally key. And then when you go to events, this is a cheat code. If you get word of the event ahead of time, see if you can see the guest list. Look at the guest list, take that to Facebook and LinkedIn. See what they do, see what they've been a part of, see if there's anything that interests you. And make a plan to talk to at least one or two people, targeted people that you have on your list.
Wow.
One note about what you say is we've all heard the elevator pitch, but that joint is a little dry. Okay, it is dry.
Yeah.
So I came across a fantastic video by, I'm not sure if you know her, Lisa Nichols.
Sounds so familiar. She's an author, right?
She's an author, motivational speaker.
Yes. Yep.
She created a system called the SNAP. Let me see if I can remember. Snapitize, to be clear, concise, powerful and quick, will be wise. Listen, let me tell you something. Changed my life. And if you look at that video, she says you have to start with the end in mind.
Yes, I love that motto.
It's like, so I guess a snap for me would be, hey, my name is Tatiana Parker, and I have a passion for connecting people, to opportunities and organizations, because I believe an interconnected world means betterment for everybody. Is there anybody you know that is working in that field and would like to talk more? Boom.
That opens it up. Is there anyone, so it's not, you're not pointing it at them. Correct. But is there anyone that you would know that might be able to, elaborate on this with me, build on this conversation?
Right. It takes that pressure off of them. And I was having a networking conversation with someone, a group I was facilitating, and they mentioned that it sounds transactional, that networking can feel transaction. Like, I'm getting to meet you just because you can do something for me, right? Yeah. That might be what brings you there, but what's going to keep you is genuine curiosity. Yes. Curious of just learn people to learn people. Yeah. And no matter what you talk about, if it's work related, or maybe you all have the same dog. Yeah. Yeah. Going to the same concert. Yeah. Now that's a bridge where you've built a little bit of connection and experience where that person will be more open. Networking should be reciprocal.
Yes.
It should definitely
even if it's transactional, right? I think sometimes we look at that word in a negative light. Yeah. But I like to use that description for interviews, right? Yep. Like, when you're going into it, it doesn't have to be this like bad word to describe the experience, but in a way you're providing your value and they're providing you the version of value that they have to offer you on the back end. So, it's really about clarity, right?
And synergy.
Right? So, what, like you said, going into it, beginning with the end in mind, what are you passionate about? What outcome are you looking for in this conversation? And then just introducing yourself. And that gives like that outline to bounce from, whether that's the person that you need to talk to more, or they can quickly and swiftly connect you with a person that you can authentically connect to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And something else you said, your listeners may, you said you felt like the odd man out, that everybody knew each other already. Yeah. Let me tell you, that could be a superpower. Because when you get out here and you build a name for yourself and a brand, there will be people who you necessarily don't want to work with and don't want to work with you. Yeah. Fine. No harm, no foul. Yeah. So going into a room and you're a blank slate can work in your favor oftentimes.
Yeah. It didn't feel that way in the moment.
Yes. I understand.
I do. But I did not stay in that field, to your point. You know what I mean? I started out political science backdrop. I thought I was going to go into like law settings. And, after having those experiences, I knew that I just was not in the right room. I knew I wasn't in the right room. And I tell my students all the time, use LinkedIn, online networking platforms to meet people and to bring you closer to the rooms you belong in.
Yeah, and a closed door is still powerful because it shows you where you shouldn't go.
Yeah.
It's so funny to hear you say that because I graduated from OCC with a degree in human services.
Okay.
It wasn't until my last semester that I had internships, and I learned very quickly, I don't want to be in the industry. I was like, there's too many policies that prohibit the helper from giving the help that's needed.
Wow.
So I said, let me go into political science.
Okay. See? And there's so many ways you can go with it, you know, and that's why I loved it. And I still utilize a lot of that knowledge and experience till this day. So
that's a good point. Nothing is ever wasted.
No.
Nothing is ever wasted.
No. You know, adjacent industries, there's so many complementary skills and how, you know, a lot of transferable. That's like the big word now, is just having transferable skills that you can comb over from one role to the next. It's just been a really cool journey in my career. And it sounds like that for you too. It was not a linear path.
Anything but.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything but I'm grateful. And I picked up things from every step that make me who I am today.
Yeah. Wow. I could echo everything. I'm going to be conscientious of your time. And we'll go ahead and wrap up. What would be one last piece of advice that you would leave for the student that, you know, might be a little on the fence about, you know, registering for a program? Maybe they are making a huge, you know, adjustment to their schedule. They might be switching to the night shift to take classes with us. They might have to now, you know, adopt new childcare to take classes. They're making a large life adjustment and commitment to even be here. What advice or wisdom would you have to share with that person who's contemplating making that big commitment?
Anything in life is going to cost you. Staying the same is going to cost you. Choosing a new path is going to cost you. Choose your hard. Choose your hard and go for it.
Yeah. Choose your hard.
Choose your hard. It's all hard. Just in what direction? In what direction? Staying the same is hard. That's sacrificing dreams and things you have inside of you for the sake of comfort. But choosing the path less seen, especially if you're first generation, especially if you're English second language, especially if you're a woman going into a male-dominated field. Will it be hard? Absolutely. But what's the cost of that hard versus the pain of staying the same?
Yes. Or life will choose it for you.
Maybe
right?
It sure will.
It's going to be hard either way, you know?
Choose your hard.
Wow.
Choose your hard.
There you go. That's your takeaway. Choose your hard today. If you want to learn more about the Syracuse EOC or all of the EOC networks, we'll leave that information in the description box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this was helpful for you. And where can folks find you? You're on LinkedIn. You're on all the social media networks.
I am on everything. I'm the elder millennial that is on everything. So I am on Facebook as Tatiana C. Parker. And I'll also give my LinkedIn, which is also Tatiana C. Parker. Feel free to friend me, ask me questions. I am here for the benefit of making sure that people coming up alongside me and behind me do not bump their head in the same exact places I did. So I'm an open book.
Wow. That's mentorship and sponsorship, right? Thank you folks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.